Hello guys, in this video we are gonna learn about the Onclick attribute. So let's start. First we need to create a button, and this is the syntax to create a button in HTML. Now let's say click me. I wrote click me in here and it appeared in here. I'm not gonna add any CSS to this button. However, I'm gonna add an ID to it. So ID button 1. Okay. Now this specific button now has an ID of button 1. Now let's access to that button using JavaScript. So we have done this before. Const, let's say button equals to document dot get element by ID. Pay attention to the spelling. And then let's say button 1. Okay. Now we have successfully managed to link this button to our JavaScript. Now to use the onClick attribute, you need to type the button name. You need to put dot and put on click. And you are gonna put equals to a function. Okay. So what we are doing in here? So basically we are telling our code that whenever this button is being clicked, so whenever the user clicks this button, we are gonna run this function. So that's what this code does. And you can type whatever you want. Let's say console.long the button. Let's print just the button. Okay. Now let's click it. As you can see, we are printing something. And you can do some other works. For example, you can get some values from an input box. So what you can do is you can make an input box. So type equals to text, ID equals to input 1. Let's save it. As you can see, our input box is now here. So what we are gonna do is we are gonna type something to this input box, and when we click this button, we are gonna retrieve that information to our JavaScript. So to do this, we also need to say const input equals document dot get element by ID input 1. Okay, now we have successfully managed to link our input to our JavaScript too. Let's now get the input from this input box. Let text equals to now input dot value. As you know, we did this before. This is how we get the information from this input box. Oops. Okay. Now what we are gonna do is we are gonna console.log text. So when you click this, as you can see, we get nothing because we wrote nothing to this input box. Let's type hello world. As you can see, we print it. Let's type a number. We print it. Okay. So this is how basically you get input from this input box, and pay attention that these inputs are retrieved as texts, as strings. So if you are gonna work with numbers, you probably are gonna need to convert this text to number, so like this. However, in this case, if the user types string, then it will say not a number. But by default, this text is a string. Okay, so that's all for this video. This is basically how you run some events when a button is clicked. In the feature in your codes, you might want to add something like when the user clicks enter, I'm gonna get these inputs from this input box, and we are gonna cover that in get in adding some in add event listener videos. So you are gonna learn about that too. And that's all for this video. Have a great day.